G'day guys, MFWest here, and we are back with some bloody good news. Alright, so, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, some big news has dropped from Blizzard. Okay, so back in time travel, back to Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor expansions, we used to have an execute called Soul Reaper, which would do a metric fuckton of damage. Quote me on that. To players and to bosses and to mobs below 35% HP. It was an execute function that we had, and it was amazing. Blizzard stripped us of this in Legion, and we've been stuck with this freaking disgusting version of Soul Reaper ever since. Okay, I'll be honest. All it did was kind of make the rotation feel 2% less clunky, and it just offered rune regeneration. Now Blizzard have been like, okay, let's give them back what they deserve. Let's give them back an execute. So we now have an execute in the beta on Shadowlands. It is currently on the beta, and I have been testing it. So let's have a quick look at what Soul Reaper used to be back in the day. So it used to strike an enemy for 130% weapon damage and afflicts the target with Soul Reaper after 5 seconds. If the target is below 35% HP, this effect will deal 60,000 additional shadow damage. If the enemy dies before this effect triggers, the Death Knight gains 50% haste for 5 seconds. This is the old Soul Reaper, okay? Now, the new Soul Reaper only costs 1 rune, is on an 8-second cooldown, so when the bosses or mob or player is below 35% HP, you can basically spam this to get this effect here. So again, the wording is very similar. Strike an enemy for shadow damage, that is 35% attack damage by the way, and afflict the enemy with Soul Reaper. After 5 seconds, if the target is below 35% health, this effect will explode, dealing additional shadow damage to the target. Now, this actual explosion is around 135, let me just double check, 156% attack power. Okay, there you go. If the enemy dies while afflicted, gain Runic Corruption. Now, for those of you that do not know what Runic Corruption is, each runic power you spend has a 1.4% chance to increase your rune regeneration rate by 100% for 3 seconds. So, let's be honest, Unholy is one of the clunkiest rotational classes in the game. For us to do our opener, it takes like 10 to 12 different abilities that need to be pressed to get it going. It is extremely clunky, and because so many of our abilities are on the global cooldown and not off, it just makes it so meh. Now, Blizzard have identified how clunky our rotation is, and they're trying to fix the flow of it. This, I guess, is trying to fix the flow of it. Okay, they haven't identified the issue about the GCDs yet. That will hopefully come in the future, but we're going to get Runic Corruption if we kill a target with this ability. So remember, everything about Soul Reaper scales with our Mastery, and I think Mastery is honestly a very strong front runner for one of our main stats for Shadowlands. So this is huge. Like, this puts us up there for taking melees in raid, for example. Like, having an execute is very, very big, and another reason for us, for raid leaders, to pick us over other melee champions and other range, for that matter. We bring AMZ, we bring Brez, we bring Grip. This is just awesome, okay? Now, there were some other changes made as well. Unholy Frenzy is now gone, and it's been renamed as Unholy Strike, okay? So, strike your target with an unholy blow, dealing shadow damage, infecting the target with 4 festering wounds and sending you into a killing frenzy, increasing haste by 15% for 12 seconds. Now, all Unholy Frenzy was basically this: killing frenzy, increasing haste by 20% for 12 seconds, okay? And obviously, every time you would swing your weapon, you would basically get a wound on the target. That's all it was. So Blizzard have nerfed that 20% to 15%, and I think they've kind of like said, we'll give you 4 wounds, and this ability will actually do 132% weapon power, attack power, and it will scale with Mastery. So that damage we're giving you on the initial strike, that's going to compensate for the 5% haste that's gone. But I feel like Unholy will really miss that 5% because you guys all know how well our abilities scale with haste. Let's have a look at BFA, for example. Yeah, so a bit unfortunate, a little bit of a nerf there, but I think this ability is going to be our hardest hitting ability that we have. I'm not even joking. This And Unholy doesn't have many big hitting abilities, so this will be quite fun to see. And the fact that it scales with Mastery is quite nice as well. It will again help with the opener. We get 4 festering wounds on the initial opener, which is nice. The next one is a quality of life change to Army of the Dead. So now it no longer costs 3 runes, it only costs 1 rune. Okay? Yeah, like honestly, Blizzard, Army of the Dead needs to be reworked. It's an 8-minute cooldown. No other 8-minute cooldowns exist in the game. You need to fix this ability instead of trying to make it work with our current rotation. But again, I think it's a very it's a very unholy DK ability, right? We love Army of the Dead, we love the idea of it, but they need to reduce the cooldown on 8 minutes is ridiculous. So yeah, that's alright. It will make our opening rotation a little bit better and free flowing. Now they've made a note here saying that the Night Fae ability, the D&D ability, it will now synergize with Defile. Before, if you picked Defile and had the Night Fae ability, they wouldn't cross over, but now there's going to be a little bit of synergy there, which is going to be very interesting to see. But I do believe the Night Fae Death's Due ability, the amount of targets you can hit inside of it has been nerfed to match D&D. So a little bit unfortunate there, but yeah, that's pretty much the major Unholy changes. For me, Soul Reaper is a huge change. That is massive. I'm so happy about that. It's going to be so awesome to use this in PvP again and just in raid. Generally, the Frost changes, all it is currently addressing is the fact that dual wielding Frost can have 2 weapon enchants, two-handed Frost can have 1 weapon enchants. Let's make it more even, and let's give two-handed Frost a little bit more of a damage increase through this Obliterate rank 2, so that they can be compensated for not having a second weapon enchant. That's all that is. Alright, so let's have a look at what Soul Reaper and Unholy Strike look like, feel like, and just, yeah, how it looks on the beta, because this is currently live on beta, so let's get right into it, guys. Apologies, guys. Apparently, my graphics card is just not letting me record on the beta at the moment, but I've pretty much seen that it's pretty much working as intended. There are basically no sound effects or visual effects for Soul Reaper itself. Frenzy is kind of the same. When you press it, that Unholy Presence icon, the green icon, comes above your head. Both hitting really hard. I did see like a 3,300 crit on Soul Reaper, which is pretty big. It's going to be awesome. So hopefully it scales well and they let us keep and execute for the most part of the expansion, please, Blizzard. But yeah, I'm going to be ordering a new graphics card regardless. My current one is 5 years old and one of the fans is not working, so I will get that footage out to you guys. But for the time being, the most important thing is for me to get that information out to you guys, that what's happened to Unholy. So please, I've been pretty much posting all my updates on Facebook and Twitter at MFWest WoW. I did stream for about a week as well. I'm just trying to figure out this graphics card issue. But again, I want to keep streaming and posting content for you guys about Shadowlands. So stay posted, follow me on those social medias, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Have an awesome day, and peace. Stay unholy.